Finally got back into doing a little bit of modeling. I like Airfix 600 scale ships. They seem to be a decent size, and I actually make a fair percentage of my models float. Try to make them float on the water line if I can. Graf's Bay here, it was pushing it. Had to hollow decks out and things to get it to cooperate. The larger the ship, the easier it is to make them float. So we got the Graf's Bay, and this is a war spite that I've partially turned into a Queen Elizabeth from World War I, and then you have the RMS Queen Elizabeth there. So it, of course, was fairly easy to make float, although I think I may have hollowed out some of the upper decks there if there was a solid one underneath it. I know I had to do that with the Titanic. You got to lighten the top of a liner because they're so tall. Battleships are lighter, like the Bismarck, a 600 scale is pretty easy to make it float. But anyway, so what my current project is I'm trying to make a Dreadnought. Unfortunately, nobody, or Airfix in particular, didn't make a Dreadnought. So what I did, I took an Iron Duke, and I'm trying to convert it into the Dreadnought. And I recently bought a 350th Trumpeter Dreadnought just to help me with some of the layout and things. Even with 3D models online, it's hard to see, especially up in the upper decks and things there. Okay, so back to the 600 scale Dreadnought here. If you want a kit that's a challenge to paint, this is the Tirpitz, Bismarck's sister ship. This one's probably built 15 years ago plus. It's got a lot of dust on it. I just spent 5 minutes trying to clean it off, but anyway. And it's weighted so that it floats, but like I say, it's a challenging paint scheme there. Maybe that shows it a little better. Norwegian camouflage. But anyway, it gives you an idea of the scale of it compared to the Dreadnought. I'll take the top deck here and just show you. That's not working out so well. Okay, how's that? See, considerable length difference. Dreadnought was whatever, 530 feet. Tirpitz was like 817. So anyway, to convert the Iron Duke, the Dreadnought was about 100 feet shorter than the Iron Duke class. So I've chopped about 2 inches out of the hull. The hull is in my mold box here. You can see the interior of it, kind of where there's my split line there in the center with that white plastic bridging the gap. But here I've made a split base, and then this whole thing is designed to split so that it will come apart in the center, and then I'll extract the ship hull out of there, and that'll leave the outer part. You can see the blue here, that's the silicone mold. Green and other colors, reds, plasticine. I had to extend the hull up because the Dreadnought and Iron Duke, they have this step there so that it drops down to the deck at the back, so I had to extend it to the top of the hull all the way along because I have to pour a flat line. But you can see here some of my conversion work. I had to move 4 of the 5 gun turrets and then redo the deck. Had to make all this curved work in there, and the barbette extensions above the deck there. It takes a fair amount of time actually, but my intention here is to I'm going to cast a couple hulls, and then what I would actually like to do, if I can reach it here, when you print it out from Wikipedia, there's the Dreadnought there. But I was thinking about doing the previous one, the Lord Nelson class, the Agamemnon, It's about 90 feet shorter than the Dreadnought. Uses 2 of the 5 12-inch gun turrets. The ones I'm using, they're actually 13.5-inch turrets off the Iron Duke, but they're close enough for comfort, in my opinion. But I will have to make, these ones had like 9-point-something inch guns, singles and doubles. So I'm going to try to cast 2 or 3 hulls out of this mold here, and chop one like I have here and make it into Lord Nelson, Agamemnon. If I get around to doing that, we'll see. The Dreadnought here has only sat around for about 10 years at this point. It took me about 4 hours of searching to find it, but we got her in the mold box now, so yep. So anyway, that's what I'm working on these days, is casting a mold there. So we're just continuing on with the Dreadnought mold here. I have removed the ship out of the exterior mold. I had it sitting on 1/4-inch nuts to support it, so I filled them in with normal silicone, and then I used some black automotive silicone to glue the mold to the outer box here, since I don't want it prying apart. It's actually cut in 2 down the center so that it'll come apart. Now, so here's the Dreadnought hull there. After I removed it, I've filled the interior of it with about an 1/8 inch thick of plasticine modeling clay. A little bit more, like the whole bow's full. You need basically what's it called, a draft relief angle or something there, so you can get it out. So what I'm doing here, I'm making this center plug. So and then I will cast silicone all the way around here, and then this whole thing with the silicone attached will come out, and it will go sit in here, like similar to this. This is deeper, obviously. So it will fill in the interior of the ship. This will be thicker because it'll have silicone on it, all for removal purposes. Now my hull is going to be, 3 to 4 times as thick as the original one, but that's just because I can't cast a 16th inch thick hull. But that'll be okay. It'll just use more plastic. So anyway, this is rather complicated, as you can see here. I'm already up to 3 separate pieces, but hopefully it all works. So here's the center plug after I poured the silicone into it there. It's all dry. So now I'll peel it out, show it. So here's the first hull I cast. It's a black plastic. You can see this is where the normal Dreadnought hull ends here, and from here up is plasticine extension, but now it's made of plastic, just because the front of the ship is 1 deck higher. And you see there must have been an air bubble in it there. The bottom of the bow is not there. And I got these pieces on the bottom there. That's where I had nuts in holding the hull up when I cast the mold. Not a bad casting, but it's got a lot of little air bubbles, tiny air bubbles, but quite usable. So you could fill the front with JB weld. Now it would have to be cut down to where it needs to be there, and then like even at the front, you have to make it bigger than you need it, and then you cut it down to what you need, at least using these techniques that I do. Injection molding, of course, will be completely different, but that's for large pieces like this. That's beyond the scope of what I can do. I use it for small pieces, like I'll be trying that with guns and possibly the turrets. I'll be making guns and turrets. It's just a question of how I'll be doing it. So, but anyway, that's hull number 1. I'll be making more. Well, I've cast 3 hulls so far. Here's the first one. I guess maybe I already showed it. Ended up with the air bubble in the bow there. Nothing too significant that JB Weld and some sanding can't cure. And the second one, the interior mold was shifted slightly, so this is very thin on the one side and thick on the other. But other than that, it worked out pretty good. Got rid of that air bubble in the bow there. Then the next one, it was a little bit didn't have quite enough material in the mold, and so I had to build it up with JB Weld there. It basically put a, show it here, it put a dish in it. You see it goes up on the outside and then down low and then back up on the other side. So I had the wall there, I just had to back it up because it was very thin in this area here. So anyway, so we got 3 of them cast there. So now I guess I can go ahead and make a mold of the top deck and gun turrets and things like that. So lots to keep me busy, that's for sure.